What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Kick-Ass Podcast. We are here today to take a look at a pretty surprising lawsuit. When I first saw it floating around on Twitter, I was like, "No, that can't be legit." But sure enough, it is. So we will be sitting down and taking a look at the information that we have here. I was gonna do this on a live episode, but you know how things get when we're live. So had a little bit of random time in my day, so I wanted to sit down and just take a look at it and go over the information that has been presented so far and some I don't want to say questionable, but just some things that are peculiar to me. So I'll definitely be pointing that out, of course, as we go along. But before we get into it, thank you so much, as always, for watching the show. I appreciate you guys. Normally, I'll say for watching live or watching here on replay, but everyone is watching on replay because sadly, I'm not live right now. I do miss you guys. I love going live now. It's crazy. I never thought I would. It's just always a weird thing. Like, oh my God, like going live, but now I miss it. So, thank you guys for always popping in. It makes it super fun. And if you are watching this prior to the Elimination Chamber, I am hopefully doing a watch along for the chamber itself again, similar to what we did for the Rumble. So stay tuned for that. That should be fun, especially with the addition and the inclusion of The Rock and the whole Cody Rhodes thing, wanting his soul, this, that, and the third, which I dropped a separate video on, so you can check that out as well. But today we're just focusing on AEW, Tony Khan, and the lawsuit that is, including two very interesting characters, pun and pun not intended. um, but that's why when I first saw this, I was like, "What the fuck?" But yeah, before I get into it, as I was saying, just thank you guys for getting us here. We are passing 500 subscribers now at this point, so that's super dope. Like I said before, this was just always just something fun for me to sit down and do, and just kind of like a venting place for me, just to just relate, like, just kind of, like, revisit my fandom and kinda just keep like a video diary is what I call it, of just my wrestling fandom throughout the years, and it's fun to go back and see, man, like, God, like, it's just crazy to see what's changed in the wrestling world year to year, and when you go back and look at some of your first videos, it's like, damn, like, remember when like Vince McMahon news first broke and how we or what we thought was going to change. So it's just fun to kind of go back and just keep a little diary like that. So the fact that you guys tune in and listen to me bullshit, I appreciate that. And if you aren't subscribed, maybe consider doing so. If not, feel free to drop a comment if you have some thoughts or whatever. But yeah, I just appreciate you being here. So getting into the lawsuit itself, and if you don't know now, by now, which I'm sure everyone does, and it should be in the title, depending on the final name of the title that I come up with. But it is, of course, involving our guy TK, Tony Khan, the the never seems to fail CM Punk getting himself involved with some drama, right? Directly or indirectly, and then Ryan Nemeth, whether they are in the same company together or not. And yes, Ryan Nemeth, not Nick Nemeth, the former Dolph Ziggler, but Ryan Nemeth, the brother of Dolph. Nick Nemeth. So yeah, we'll be getting into that here, but I do want to shout out Fightful.com. I will be showing and sharing my screen here in a moment for the video, but if you're watching the video feed, if you're listening on audio, hey, thanks. I'll obviously read it out loud. But the author of the Fightful, I keep wanting to say Fightful Slip, but it's just Fightful. This version, this was on their free tier, so shout out to them for that. But it was through Jeremy Lambert is the author of this article that we will be referencing. So shout out to Jeremy. I appreciate that. Makes my life a lot easier. And I will be throwing the link in the notes as well once I wrap up here. But like I said, I will be sharing the screen so you guys, if you're watching the video, can follow along. And here we go. Again, if you're watching on video, the article title is Ryan Nemeth files lawsuit against AEW, Tony Khan, and CM Punk. My guy, CM Punk. He just can't seem to avoid this shit. It starts by saying Ryan Nemeth has filed a lawsuit in Los Angeles Superior Court against AEW, Tony Khan, and CM Punk. The lawsuit alleges assault, breach of contract, breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing, and intentional interference with prospective advantage. So let's get into it. The lawsuit was filed on February 14th, so no love from Mr. Nemeth here. No love on Valentine's Day. There's no case number assigned to the lawsuit, and it is not yet listed online from the lawsuit, and there are a substantial amount of bullet points that we'll be getting into here, so bear with me. From the lawsuit, it states Ryan Nemeth is a successful actor, comedian, and stuntman. Nemeth also followed his older brother Nick's career and has established himself as a star performer on the professional wrestling circuit. Nemeth was under contract with AEW. AEW is owned by Shahid and Tony Khan. Shahid Khan is the owner of the NFL franchise Jacksonville Jaguars, where his son Tony managed to alienate most everyone within the Jaguars organization, including NFL players in parentheses. Tony was moved to a leadership role in the Khan family-owned Fulham Football Club. Tony ended up mismanaging Fulham, leading to multiple lawsuits against the club. Since he was a child, Tony loved professional wrestling and had an obsession with certain wrestlers. The Khan family formed AEW to provide Tony with something to do safely away from the family's other ventures. Tony with something to do safely away from the family's other ventures. Tony serves as AEW's chief executive officer. I have to pause there for a second, guys, because I did not I did not read this prior. So this is a cold read. I who wrote this? I mean, I'm assuming it had to have been obviously Nemeth's representation, but this is obviously. But you could tell clearly they have a certain mindset already just from that first paragraph of Tony. Um, because and again, I am not gonna sit here and pretend to know anything about his dealings with Fulham and that organization. I do not follow that at all. So if that is the case, then I'm sorry to hear that. Um, but for them to start off Jesus, for them to start off with, AEW is owned by Shahid and Tony Khan. Shahid Khan is the owner of the NFL franchise Jacksonville Jaguars. When his son Tony managed to alienate most everyone within the Jaguars organization, parentheses including NFL players, Tony was moved to a leadership role in the Khan family-owned Fulham Football Club. Tony ended up mismanaging Fulham, leading to multiple lawsuits against the club. Since he was a child, Tony loved professional wrestling and had an obsession with certain wrestlers. The Khan family formed AEW to provide Tony with something to do, safely away from the family's other ventures. Tony serves as AEW's chief executive officer. What the fuck, bro? Like, that's just kind of harsh, in my opinion. Like, yo, like, I mean, I can only imagine what else they say. But yo, I can't wait to see specifically who wrote this because my goodness. And obviously, like I said, it's someone on the camp of Ryan Nemeth. But yo, like starting off hot. All right, let's see what they have to say about Punk. All right, if they said that shit about Tony Khan already in paragraph one, like sentence like three, four, whatever it was, like Jesus. Phil Brooks was another wrestler under contract with AEW and a member of the AEW management team. Confirmation there. Tony had a deep fascination with Brooks. Brooks undertook a campaign to terrorize and intimidate plaintiff, including physical assault. AEW and Tony Khan did nothing to protect Ryan Nemeth and other wrestling performers from despicable conduct on the part of Brooks. AEW turned a blind eye to Brooks' conduct because of Tony's deep admiration for Brooks and because he was their most popular wrestling performer. At Brooks and Tony's insistence, AEW and Tony Khan have undertaken an effort to quote unquote blackball Nemeth, so says we, but I'm assuming he can never again work in the wrestling business. Like who wrote this? Um and a lot of I'm gonna try to get through it here so I don't keep stalling and making this forever recording, but I'll unless it's just I something I can't hold back. I'll try to save my comments for the end. It continues at all, and I guess this is number 14. I wonder how many. It's so the previous ones weren't numbered; they were just bullet pointed, and then now we're starting with numbers here. So number 14. At all relevant times mentioned herein, Brooks was also an employee of AEW, serving a role in executive leadership. So, again, if you flash back to Brawl Out and the scrum, him saying, I have a business to run here, I'm trying to run a business, rings truer and truer, it seems, which is wild. Number 15, in early 2023, Brooks assaulted and battered Two fellow wrestlers known by the stage names Matt and Nick Jackson. Brooks is known to have an uncontrollable temper and often lashes out in violent tirades against others. Thus, defendants were on notice regarding Brooks' violent proclivities. And I guess I should say, because I don't think it's referenced anywhere prior in their statement, but all this is alleged at this time. Number 16. Rather than removing Brooks from the AEW roster of wrestlers, Tony Khan made the decision to merely, merely suspend Brooks for a few months. Wasn't it like 6 or 7 months? And he was out with a torn bicep or tricep anyway. Brooks is one of AEW's most popular wrestlers, and Khan did not feel that Brooks could be removed without a substantial loss in profit for AEW. Further, Khan has a very deep personal affinity for Brooks. I think you've made that clear. Khan Khan made the conscious decision to keep Brooks as a part of AEW, although he knew that Brooks is prone to lashing out in violent episodes and to injure others. Jesus, Punk is just a loose cannon back there. No disrespect to Brian. Yo. Number 17. Beyond his deep feelings for Brooks, do we have to keep referencing this? Khan represented to AEW executives and wrestlers that the TBS network had produced the quote unquote AEW Collision show contingent upon Brooks' involvement as the show's star. This was all the more reason for Khan to keep Brooks in spite of his violent propensities. During his suspension for unknown reasons, Brooks made it known that he despised Nemeth. Here we go. Nemeth did nothing to Brooks whatsoever, but Brooks made it well known that he was angry with Nemeth. Brooks has a notorious history for taking violent action against others for no reason. Um, Number 19. On April 16th, 2023, Nemeth contacted AEW executives within AEW to tell his employer that he was worried Brooks would come back to the wrestling circuit following his suspension and assault Nemeth because CM Punk is sitting there stewing at home about Nick Nemeth or Ryan Nemeth about Ryan Nemeth. Sorry if I keep saying Nick. Sorry, it's Ryan. Ryan. Um, this is wild. On June 21st, 2023, following Brooks' return to the wrestling circuit, he assaulted Nemeth in the male talent locker room. In a menacing manner, Brooks shouted at Nemeth, quote unquote, "Do we have a fucking problem? Do we need to step outside and handle this like men?" That's how men do it. Nemeth was cornered by Brooks and did everything he could in order to de escalate the situation. What a stand up guy this Nemeth is. Wow. The next day, 21, paragraph 21. The next day, Nemeth was contacted by Tony Schiavone and other executives from AEW to explain what happened. Nemeth calmly and factually explained that he was attacked by Brooks in the locker room. So did Punk actually attack him? Because he says in a menacing manner, Brooks shouted at Nemeth, "Do we have a fucking problem?" So is he saying he was like verbally assaulted, or because in that paragraph, he at least wasn't physically assaulted, like, I guess besides being cornered, but I don't know. I guess that is intimidation, I guess you could say, allegedly. I don't know. Again, I'm just reading what they have written here in this supposed lawsuit. Not supposed, it is. um, it's just wild so far. Okay. 22, following the assault, nothing happened to Brooks as far as punishment from AEW. 23, it is well known in the wrestling industry that, quote, benching a wrestler is a form of punishment. That is, the wrestling performer is not scheduled for a match and thus is not paid. Benching a wrestler is a customary manner of punishing a wrestler, which I'm not going to get into that. But, didn't he wrestle after that? Like, I mean, he was used on AEW Dark a lot. Okay. Following the incident with Brooks, Nemeth greatly feared being benched by AEW. Nemeth spoke with AEW's in-house counsel and attorneys from Latham and Watkins, outside counsel for AEW. All of the attorneys promised that Nemeth would not be benched. 25. Following his June 22nd conversation with Tony Schiavone et al., etc., Nemeth was not booked for a match for over 2 months. Which honestly, though, like, I'd have to go back and look at his track record, right? But I don't it's not like he was consistently being booked on TV anyway. Like, it's not like he was, like, a main guy and then all of a sudden he just disappeared. I know he was part of, like, what was it called, like, the Hollywood Honks or something like that, or that thing with, Peter Avalon. I know he was involved with that for a while, and like I said, he was a staple in AEW Dark, but I don't recall him really being on TV that much to begin with, though, like, and if he was, please let me know in the comments. Please let me know if I'm missing, like, a huge chunk, because 'cause I'd love to know, but yeah, I don't know, and to be fair to Tony Khan, right? Like he has always, and it's been obvious at this point, he's always allowed wrestlers to go and seek work elsewhere in regards to taking independent bookings and different events and things like that and traveling. So I'm not sure if that was not the case for Ryan Nemeth here, or if he's saying that he was already blackballed at that time and he was not able to get any bookings because of that or any requests or anything like that. So that could be the case. And we'll, I'm sure, get more information once it's all this is revealed. Um, but yeah, I know I'm a little stumped on that one. Because 26, because Nemeth was not booked for matches, his income stream from AEW dried up. More importantly, his popularity and marketability faded from being absent from the professional wrestling circuit. 27 on June 17, 2023, Nemeth again contacted AEW's legal department to complain that he was being punished for doing nothing. It was then it was then that Nemeth discovered the real reason why he was being benched. Brooks had insisted upon this. All right. So to, keep everyone up to speed, CM Punk, the entire time he was suspended, was just stewing on how he's gotta when he comes back from his injury and his suspension, he's gunning for Nemeth, right? He's gunning for Ryan, the Hollywood hunk. So that's part one. And then part two, now that he's back in this timeline, in this sequence of events, Punk just ain't having it. Ryan Nemeth cannot be at any show that he's at, any pay-per-view, anything. So that's where we're at. And again, I'm not saying this is true one way or another. I'm just reading the information here, but carrying on. 28, because it's just funny. It just kind of cracks me up. But 28, because Tony Khan had such a deep admiration for Brooks, in parentheses, bordering on an obsession. I think you made that clear. Khan went along with Brooks' desires to ruin Nemeth's career. He's in TNA right now. Like, I literally just saw him. What's today? It's 4 days ago. 4 days ago. Yeah, twice. Thursday and Friday. He was at both TNA shows. Okay. I'm gonna table that for now because I'm sure we'll get back to that. But how did he ruin his career? Like he's in TNA. It's not. Hold on. I'm just gonna continue. Like I said, I wasn't gonna keep making comments, but I just can't help myself apparently. 29 on August 12th, 2023, Nemeth was finally booked for an event in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay, see, yeah, I jumped the gun. Number 30, on the morning of August 12th, Nemeth was walking through the hotel lobby to board a shuttle to the sports arena where the wrestling match would take place. He saw Brooks. Oh, shit. Brooks immediately took out his phone and began to text. 31. A moment after that text was sent, Nemeth received a text from AEW supervisor Pat Buck saying that he needed to speak with Nemeth as soon as he got to the arena. Wasn't he already at the? Oh no, that was in the hotel lobby. That's right. How? Okay, so just, and again, I'm just going off of the information here. It could 1,000% be correct. I'm not saying it is one way or another. I'm just reacting to shit as I read it. But how do you know? First of all, I mean, you can tell when people are typing on their phone, right? But how do you know someone's sending a text? They could be sending a tweet, they could be sending a DM, they could be sending numerous different types of messages at this point. How do you know it was a text unless you saw his phone? So then that would mean that you're close enough to be seeing what's on his phone, which in my head then at that point, like if you're that close and he hates you this month, like I'm sure some words would have been spoken or something would have happened, right? So I don't know. But apparently we know that it was a text that CM Punk was typing in the hotel lobby because immediately after it was sent, Nemeth got a message from Pat Buck to speak with him as soon as he got to the arena. So again, I'm just trying to keep the timeline going here for you guys. That Punk, man, he's just fucking out to get him. Number 32. Upon arriving at the arena, Nemeth sought out Pat Buck. Buck told Nemeth that he needed to leave the arena immediately and that travel would be arranged for him to fly out on that same day. 33. Nemeth was embarrassed and humiliated in front of other wrestlers who witnessed him being kicked out of the arena. More importantly, fans observed him leaving the arena. Pictures were taken and the expulsion became quote unquote viral on social media. What? This humil- humiliation, easy enough for me to say, caused irreparable damage should be to the marketability and reputation of Nemeth. Am I missing something? When did this viral sensation happen? Alright, so I paused here, full disclosure, because I wanted to do my due diligence and see what this viral video was about. I was not able to find it. I was not able to find any pictures or anything like that. I typed in Ryan Nemeth kicked out of arena and I see nothing, but everything is reporting to the indications that he's referring to here in his suit. So again, if you guys can find that, let me know. Drop it in the comments. Tag me on Twitter at @kickashpodcast underscore because I missed out on this viral sensation, so I'd love to see that. But I will again give I don't say credit, but I will add this bit of info as well. I did want to go back and check out the timeline and see who was on the card and what was going on in the AEW landscape around August 15, 2023, right? Because he said that they were in North Carolina, in Greensboro specifically, where everything happened, right? Shows right here. That's where he said. Finally booked for yeah, in Greensboro. So I went to pull that up. So I did. And I went to cagematch.com or cagematch.net, which was the first time I had ever gone to that website. It's fucking incredible. I don't know how I've never gone to it before, but it's just fucking amazing. I've obviously heard of it, but I love it. It's just so well done. I can't wait to just dig in more. But it's so easy to navigate, so easy to search for shit. So shout out to cagematch.net because y'all have done an incredible job and I am so thankful for your database. So I typed in and I was able to search and bring it up and it shows the card for the Greensboro, North Carolina event that they're referring to was in fact a collision card, which makes sense, right? Because as indicated, that was CM Punk's show. The card, did have a good amount of matches on it. I'm not gonna go through the entire card. Or I guess I will really quick just for nostalgia's sake. We had a dark tag team match, the Guns, Austin and Colton Gunn, of course, facing off against the Infantry. A tag team match with the Iron Savages, Boulder and Bronson, with Jack Jamison versus the Acclaimed. Tag team match as well, Diamante and Mercedes Martinez versus Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale. Samoa Joe versus Andrew Everett. And the final two looks like getting towards the main event here. The AEW TNT title match, Luchasaurus with Christian Cage is your champion, defending against Brock Anderson with Arn Anderson. And then the main event appears to have been AEW or an AEW World Trios title match. The House of Black, Brody King, Buddy Matthews, and Malachi Black, of course, with Julia Hart. The champions defended against CMFTR, which was Cash Wheeler, CM Punk, and Dax Harwood. So confirmation there that CM Punk was in fact in that area, and I guess Nick I keep saying Nick. I'm so sorry, Nick, but Ryan was as well, right? Just wanted to go back to the show. And then I was like, okay, well, when did he wrestle again? Like when like how far off, like or how much was he like really penalized booking wise? You know, because that's what he was referencing as well. So I pulled up his information on Cage Match, which again, just a fabulous site. It looks like around that time frame he was booked in August on the 16th for a Ring of Honor World Title Proving Ground match versus Claudio Castagnoli. Before that, he was booked in it looks like yeah, July 5th of that same year. Obviously in 2023 we're in a tag team match with the Wingmen. That was their name, the Wingmen. So yeah, and it looks like prior to then he had not wrestled since March of that same year on what was that? AEW. It looks like maybe a dark taping. Yeah, a dark taping because those are in Universal Studios. So yeah, so kind of a little bit sporadic there. But then after the 16th, fast forwarding back to August now, like I said, he did have a match in August on the 16th of 2023, that Ring of Honor World Title Proving Ground match, like I said, with Claudio Castagnoli. He had a match after that, after apparently, the whole viral sensation happened and he was sent home. Again, it wasn't anything crazy because on AEW Rampage on August 30th, it was a Ring of Honor World Tag Team Title #1 contendership battle royale with a whole bunch of people, which I'm not going to name right here. And then right after that, it looks like he did not have another match until October 18th of 2023, which appears to have been on Dynamite, which was against Wardlow, where he was defeated by a referee's decision in 26 seconds. So just a little timeline there for everyone. Moving on. The entire episode was engineered by Brooks. Brooks demanded that Nemeth be told to leave and that he would be flown out of Greensboro immediately. Khan, for his part, went along with Brooks out of his deep admiration. 35 on August 15th, 23, Nemeth contacted AEW's legal group and complained on being ejected from the event at the direction of Brooks. AEW lawyers were themselves stunned and could offer no explanation for the conduct of Brooks and Khan. The dynamic duo those two are. Number 36, on November 18th, 2024. Oh, shit, so we're jumping. Nemeth wrestled for the last time for AEW. So forget the past year and some change. Number 37, Nemeth continued to follow up on AEW's legal department in the hope of trying to resolve this situation and to avoid further conflict. In a bizarre email, AEW attorney Chris Peck reached out and threatened legal action against Nemeth and accused him of employing a quote-unquote ghostwriter in his emails. I don't even know what to say to that. Them ghostwriters, I gotta watch out for them. Cedric. Number 38, on November 25th, 2024, Brooks left AEW to wrestle for the organization's main competitor, WWE. And again, leaving out a good chunk of history in between, but okay. Number 39, Khan was heartbroken by the departure of Brooks, his idol, and that he adored in every way. What does that have to do with anything? Number 40, Khan was furious with Nemeth. Khan believes that Brooks left AEW because of Nemeth. So fuck Jack Perry, fuck the books, the Young Bucks, all of them. None of that mattered. It was Ryan Nemeth, guys. Now we know. Now we know. We don't need a tell-all from Brawl Out. We don't need any information as to what happened with Brawlin. We don't need any of that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Jack Perry is the scapegoat now, right? Where it has been. And if anything, Jack Perry probably deserves an apology then, right? Because CM Punk didn't leave because of Jack Perry. CM Punk left because of Ryan Nemeth. Case solved, guys. Case solved. I'm glad I read this. If you guys are watching, I'm glad we all have answers now. Because now we can rest assured and sleep peacefully going forward. Wrapping up here, though. Number 40, Khan was furious with Nemeth. Khan believes that Brooks left AEW because of Nemeth. 41, the defendants have embarked upon a campaign to quote-unquote blackball Nemeth from professional wrestling. Specifically, Tony Khan blames Nemeth for Brooks leaving AEW and has used his significant resources to make sure that Nemeth can never again make a living in wrestling. 42, and I believe the final bullet point here, the conduct of each of the defendants was malicious in that the defendants intended to cause injury to the plaintiff. Defendants acted willfully and with a conscious disregard for the rights of the plaintiff. And again, all this is alleged. This is just the complaint. Nemeth, in the article here from Fightful, finishes by saying Nemeth is seeking compensatory I had it right the first time. I've heard this word so many times. Compensatory damages, punitive damages, and demands a jury trial. Demands a jury trial. Ah, shit. In December 2024, Fightful Select, with the link there, reported that Nemeth submitted a complaint to numerous AEW executives that, quote, outlined a timeline of events that he says highlight abuse, harassment, and threats he faced while working in AEW, unquote. Nemeth is currently part of TNA Wrestling, while Punk was fired by AEW in September 2023. after a backstage incident at AEW All In. He joined WWE in November of 2023. Literally the last little, I don't wanna say paragraph, but right there, the first sentence in that portion should kind of resolve a lot of what Nemeth is saying. And again, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I know his situation financially or nothing like that and how it has impacted him getting bookings or anything because I don't, right? And it's none of my business, truly. Just my pure perspective and my judgment and me looking from the outside in. He's with TNA. I just saw him a few days ago, like, doing on the TNA live version and then on the TNA taping, so I don't I'm that's the part that's kind of like, I don't what are you saying, dude? Like, what are you saying? I don't understand how he's not getting bookings or how Khan's, like, vast amount of resources apparently prohibited him from getting work unless it was work to the level of like main event type of talent and exposure in AEW, or he thought that maybe he would be able to use his name to get to like a high level in the WWE. And that's what he's referring to, that he had the potential to make millions and millions on like the main event level. And now that he's no longer with AEW, he's not able to go to WWE because he's been blackballed. Now he is losing out on those millions and millions of dollars. That's just my what I'm thinking he's kind of like possibly going with. And again, we just have limited information here. But shout out to Fightful. That was a great synopsis and a great breakdown. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I just that's what's kind of confusing to me because again, like I said, he's working with TNA. It's not like he's, like getting pushed heavily there, but I mean, he's involved with his brother who is involved in the main event scene. So I don't, it's not terrible, right? And he's still getting TV time. Like I don't know. So that would be my honest question. I'm not even trying to be funny or whatever. Like that's a legit question because it would be one thing in that regard if we haven't seen him since. You know what I mean? Like Punk is out there living his best life in WWE now, but Ryan Nemeth, he can't even get indie bookings. He's not anywhere to be seen or heard of. Like that's when I'd be like, "Yo, you're right, bro." Like that's like maybe. And then and again, like this is just my 2 cents, but he's in TNA and TNA, like people like say LOL TNA and shit like that, but TNA, and I think that perception has changed a lot within the past couple of years as well. But they're really doing a great job over there. You know what I mean? Like, yes, they're no WWE, but no one else is a WWE, right? WWE is an enigma. They're winning themselves. So no one is ever going to be at that point, right? No matter how hard you try, no matter what kind of backing you have. Like, I'm sure if the rumors are true that Vince McMahon is trying to make his own promotion and come back, I'm sure if possibly when that does happen, like that still wouldn't be as big as the WWE. I think it would get a lot of buzz, obviously, but I don't think anything is going to rival the machine that is the WWE. So if that's what he is referring to, that now he's got like a bad reputation and that was because of Punk and Tony Khan and AEW, and now he can't go to WWE for that, then all right, maybe, like if that's what he's saying, then okay. But again, like he's actively working in TNA, so I don't know. I know that's the part that's kind of odd to me. But everything else, I kind of gave my thoughts in between there. Like I said, I was trying so hard not to, but you know me, guys. If you've watched me before, I have to speak my mind. But I will definitely be looking forward to the follow up for from this. It sucks though too because if you're on Punk's side, because he's like, "Yo, like I can't get away from this bullshit, from this drama," and I truly wonder, like in his heart of hearts, if he ever regrets going back to AEW or if he's thankful that he went there because it brought him back into wrestling specifically, and it's just unfortunate what happened type of thing. Or if he's like, "Man, I should have just waited another year and then just returned to WWE or whatever." But I don't know. That's a speculation for a different day. But it's just like, yo, it's just like he like no matter how far away you try to get for both sides in that regard, like AEW, it's not like they're the ones creating this lawsuit or doing this lawsuit, right? It's from Ryan Nemeth and his team. So AEW probably also are like, damn, like can we just be done with anything Punk related? And I don't blame them because it's like, yo, like this shit is just never ending in some variation of it. So those are just some of my not so quick thoughts at this point. But thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate it. Like I said, I know we'll be referencing this again when more information comes out. I'm not gonna say if, but when more information comes out and the response, because it's pretty interesting as well that Nemeth is demanding that it goes to a jury trial. Because I also wonder what other information would come out from the AEW side in regards to possibly information going back to the brawl out, right? The media scrum and just all the information that Tony has been working so hard to keep close to the chest or close to the vest, right? But that could potentially come out. So I just think this is wild. It makes me wonder too if he's just doing all this just to get a quick payday, which isn't shocking, right? Which I don't want to say most likely is the case because again, like I don't want to sit there and downplay anyone what anyone is going through or what they went through or what they think they went through or anything in that regard, right? You know, and especially until we have his accusations, we have the response from all parties involved, right? And then we could take like a full 360 view of everything. Then it'd be a little bit easier, right? And a little bit more comfortable maybe to put more judgment and, and speculation and Monday morning quarterback, right? And kind of judging from the outside. But yeah, this is quite interesting. So thank you guys so much for watching. I truly appreciate it. Again, stay tuned in regards to the chamber watch along and the times and stuff like that. But again, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for checking out the channel here. And if you haven't subscribed already, think about it. I appreciate it. If not, maybe drop a comment here and your thoughts on this crazy lawsuit, how far you think it's going to get to, if it's going to end up being dropped or dismissed or settled out of court or whatever. Let me know what you guys think. But again, until next time, guys, thank you so much and stay safe out there.